Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another Scale Riders podcast episode. I am your host, 65 Locs. We are episode number 196, covering model car culture from around the world. Excited for this one. It's a solo one. I'm not on the road this time. I am set to commute in the coming days, and I wanted to do it on the road, but then I told myself, you know what? There's a lot of different topics that I want to cover in this episode, and I had to write down some notes. So this way I don't, leave anything out. When I'm driving, it's always freestyle. Like I have topics I pick in my head. I'm like, all right, let's go. And I just kind of go. But then again, there are some times where there's small little details of things that might get missed, Other than that, I hope you guys are doing well. We're on the month of December. The year, we're just like days away from the year ending. Pretty much right there. But I wanted to start off this episode by announcing it's official. I will be at NNL West 2023 this coming month, January 21st, 2023, taking place at the Santa Clara Convention Center. And I'm very excited. I had mentioned about it, that I was thinking about doing it, but I was like on the fence. I wasn't sure like what was going on. So part of that was just, the planning, trying to see how things were going to be with the family on those days, being away, and, speaking with my family and just getting that support from them made it possible, making sure that, they were going to be fine while I'll be gone and stuff like that. So for these things, obviously, we got to work as a unit to make everything possible. So once I found out that pretty much I was able to do it, now lies, all right, I need to get in contact, submit my payment. Hopefully everything goes in good through, get confirmation, get a table, and I went ahead and did that. Some weeks later, I did get a response that I was accepted, table, seller's permit, all that stuff was there, and I was assigned table number 43. So I'm excited. It's coming up. I've been to NNL West before, but this time will be different because I'll be there vending. This time I'll be bringing some of the items that I offer on my website, things like tools, paints, model kits, accessories, detail parts, just a wide range of stuff. Obviously I can't bring like the whole store. We can't do that, but I will be picking out selective certain items that I'll be taking there. So there's a lot of planning that lies ahead now that it's official that I'm coming in. So I pretty much just have to make those selections as to what items is it that I decide to bring in there. I still have like a memory of like the types of things I would see there from other vendors, and I just kind of want to bring things that are going to get people excited that they have not seen before, or they have but they only see them online, and this way they could see it in person, and just bring some excitement. But on top of all that too, I'm also looking forward to having some time to like step away from the table, check out the builds that are going to be there, and also just talk to my friends, like, and even looking forward to people to meeting for the first time. A lot of these shows, it always opens up opportunity to meet new people, to say what's up. So I'm looking forward to that. Check things out, whether if you come over, say what's up to my table, or I come across you at the tables out there checking cars out. It's gonna be fun. I do see some people talking about it, but not as much yet. But I know as we, right now, as we get into January after the New Year's and all this stuff, bam, the focus is going to be on NNL West. And then the days coming up, it's going to be more, the people getting amped up, getting ready. The beginning of the year, the first show that pretty much like sets it off, that makes model builders want to bring out their builds that they want to showcase. Either if it's the build that they're busting out for this year, and this being the first show where they initiate that to start bringing that build out for the rest of the year, or perhaps this is a show where they bring out their build just to kind of show you where they're at in their stages, and again, an opportunity to bring builds that have been previously completed to bring over for others to view, because every year when they have NNL West, you do have your model builders that show up every year, but then again, there's a new crowd of people that keep coming in. So that always opens up those opportunities for them to finally see this in person. And on top of that, I mean, it's a big place, model builds, the vendors, they're also having a theme. This is the 100th anniversary of the 1923 Model T. There's also going to be a theme for 3D printed cars. So these are all new, neat things that are going on, especially the 3D printed cars. That's, pretty modern, pretty new. We have seen what's all the progression, everything that's been going on in the recent days, and it just keeps progressing. And eventually it's just going to get to a point where shows are going to probably be like 50% model kits and 50% kits that are like fully 3D printed. That lies the challenge right there. And I do see a lot of people kind of diving into that, wanting to be the first, wanting to set that bar of bringing out new cars or parts and all that, but it's all good, it's all excitement. So if you do plan on going or you're on the fence, just make sure to mark that calendar, January 21st. This will be at the Santa Clara Convention Center. So it's pretty much Northern California, San Jose, right below San Francisco area, not too far from there. And the show begins at 9 a.m. and it goes on till 4 p.m. Model car display, swap meet, door prizes, admission. So if you visit the website nnlwest.org, they updated the new flyer. At the bottom, you'll see all the sponsors that are sponsoring like door prizes. So make sure you check that out right there. I believe they're also going to be giving out, like part of that. It's like to win a 3D printer with a bottle of resin. That's going to be pretty awesome right there. And so I'll be table 43, excited for that. And then also in the month of February, I will be in Ventura County vending as well. This is going to be the Model Fest hosted by Ventura Hobbies in the city of Ventura. So I'll be there at that show too. So I'm looking forward to that one as well. This will probably be like my third show vending, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I always have a blast there, kicking it with my friends and stuff like that. It's more of a low-key show, but it's pretty cool. Like, a lot of the people who live in the Ventura County area, people from the valley, come down. Some people from Northern California come down too. So it's pretty nice, and it's just like the beach is like right there, dude. Like you pull up to the spot and you just like turn your head, and beach is like right there. It's a trip. But yeah, those are like pretty much my grounds, like areas where I grew up and stuff like that. So definitely gonna be there for that. And I'm gonna plug in the info on that as we get closer to those dates right there. I just don't want to like confuse everybody and drop all these dates on you and stuff. But for now, I would say month of January, mark those calendars, January 21st. So that's going down right there. So that's NNL West right there. So now let's jump into the next thing I wanted to talk about is my builds, the current status of where I'm at with my builds. All right, let me take a little sip right here. I'm drinking a hot tea. It was like super hot when I poured it in, so I'm hoping it's pretty like cool down right now. Dang, that thing's still hot. All right, so the status of the model builds. So there's two kits that I've been working on. Both of these kits are Aoshima kits. They're Liberty Walk editions. One of them being the Lamborghini, and the other one being the GTR R35. And as far as like these models here, these are some that I was like working on, right, for quite a while. And as far as the Lamborghini, this is the Huracan version 1. This is the first one that LBWK busted out with the wide body and with the model kit, obviously, with Aoshima. And I remember waiting on this car for like a full year for it to drop. And then finally it came out, got it in, and I was just so excited. I had never done, like an exotic car or anything. I was like, all right, I want to try something different. I've been, building and very into like the lowriders and the custom cars, and I had never done anything like this. So I dived right in, and I was just like, having fun with the paint. And then after that, I was like, all right, I want a carbon fiber like the hood and all this stuff. And it's interesting because carbon fiber was something I had never done ever. Even when I was building like lowriders, custom cars, that was like nothing that I would even think of, right? Because you don't see that in lowrider cars. You don't see people adding carbon fiber to their lowrider cars. And the same with custom cars. I never seen that, And when I was like going into this build, I was like, I want to do something different. I want to challenge myself, and just so later I could look back and be like, this was like that beginning stage for learning that, right? So during that time, I started to see a lot of carbon fiber being done by Ozzy, and I was like, dude, this guy's dope. And the more I dived in to, seeing what he was doing, I was just tripping out with all the builds that he was doing. And for those of you that don't know, he's on Instagram at Arev. He's killing it. And oh man, I was just checking out his stuff. We started talking, and it was cool because I reached out to him, to get some advice and needing help as to how to do it. And he started to break it down to me. He started to tell me, the product that he uses, like the method that he does it, the solvents that he uses, all this stuff. So I was like, all right, cool. So right there, it's all homework, right? I start writing things down. I start collectively getting all the things that I need for this. And it was just one of those like, all right, let's jump right into it. And those, I would say like the hood piece being like a big piece, or even like a roof of a car or a trunk that's just somewhat flat, where there's really not too much contours, it's just like a big piece. I would recommend anybody who wants to get started in this to start off with those pieces, especially a hood. If it's just like, as long as it doesn't have holes and all these like vents and all that stuff, if it's just smooth in a wide area, go for it as a start off, so you could kind of get a feel for laying down that tape, cutting out your template, and then applying that to the carbon fiber, transferring that over now to the car, and then laying out the micro set, the micro sole and all that stuff, and just seeing how it all comes together, just to get that experience. And from there, obviously, you start to graduate into those more complex parts, pieces that you need to do. And I mean, it was just crazy, like, seeing the progression over time from doing the bigger pieces and then going down to smaller pieces, and then to something that was very intricate, like the bumper of that Huracan, that I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna like wrap this whole thing up? And I mean, Ozzy broke it down. Everything made sense. Pretty much when you're making your template, it has to be so many pieces. It's not just one big old piece that you slap in there. It's nothing like that. And, I'm very grateful, and shout outs to him, because he did teach me that. And that's something I'll never forget, So it definitely gave me like a lot of confidence into laying down carbon fiber and not being intimidated, or not being like, oh, I'm gonna mess this up, or even not having an idea of how to approach it. The way he explained it, he gave me a good idea, but it still does not mean that I already know it and I'm a master at it. It's not even like that. I know for sure I'm still gonna reach out to him. Every build is different. Every car has a different shape. all these parts that you want to carbon, they're all going to be different. And I know I'm going to run into some areas where I'm going to be scratching my head like, ooh, I don't even know where to go from here. But it's great to have friends like that you can reach out to, and they could assist for you to, get through it and get to that next step. So, working on this car, I went with the midnight purple for the paint. The hood is carbon fiber, and then there's like the side view mirrors, the back bumper, the front lip. All these little things, like little accents, have carbon fiber in them. So interior, I'm not going too crazy with interior because I know no one's really gonna see it. That's pretty much just gonna be straightforward black. For this build, my satisfaction right now, it's more the exterior of it. And I always think about like what my guests say on the podcast, like things that they focus on when they're doing a build. For example, on this build, I'm just gonna focus on engine. I'm gonna go all out on that. Everything else is just it's gonna be there, somewhat chill, but the engine's the main thing. The next build, it's like, all right, I'm gonna focus now on the paint job. I'm gonna go all out on the paint job, push myself, but everything else will be chill. Until finally you kind of get well rounded and you graduate, and then bam, you kind of you throw all your eggs, in a basket or whatever. I don't even know if I even said that right. But you know what I mean. It's like you get to a point where you go, all right, everything I've learned, I'm gonna throw it in this one. So the GTR build was one that I was just excited about because, that build, I had primered it. I got it stanced and the look that I wanted for it and everything, right? And I just never touched it. It was primered, and I just left it, and months passed. Finally, I got the opportunity to set up my booth. I sprayed it with some Bayside Blue from Splash Paints. I clear coated it. And then the more I would stare at the car, it was like talking to me, what I should do to it. Then that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and carbon fiber some accents, like minimal small spots on this. I really want the Bayside Blue to pop as like, that iconic color from like the GTRs. And I have seen like the anniversary car, but I don't really like that white stripe they have in the center. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna do just, like everybody, do your own take on it, whatever satisfies your eyes. So I started laying down the carbon fiber and everything, and I still put it away, and I put it away, and throughout the year, just touching it here and there, modding this and changing that, and finally, it just got to a point where the more I would stare at the kit, being in a little case right in front of me each day, I realized, I really want to learn how to like polish. I want to polish this car because I haven't done anything to it. I just clear coated it, and it's like it was glossy or whatever, but that's it. But I know it has blemishes. I know that there's like some little areas that need to be, sanded down, cleaned up, and bring it back to life. But I had this fear that, by using a Dremel, I was going to burn right through the plastic, and I was just going to ruin this car, and I was going to have to start over. So, over time, just watching people doing searches on YouTube and seeing how everybody has their own method, right? Everyone has their own ways and everything like that. But they also had different materials, different things that I was like, I don't even have access to that. Like, I don't even use that, So then, like, as time passed, I started to see, like, Scott's builds were just amazing. Like, everything about them. Down from the prep, the paint, the clear, and into the polish and the presentation. And seeing that, I was like, man, this is awesome. And I remember hitting him up and just asking him questions regarding polishing and everything. And, he explained to me, his process of how to do it. And just the way he explained it made a lot of sense. But just the way he explained it also was like in my head going like, you know what? I think more people need to hear this, because he breaks it down really clearly, like how it is, and isn't missing like a step in there, you know. So I was very happy when I reached out to him if he would do an audio clip for the podcast for him to talk about this, and he did it in two parts, from wet sanding the car and then the other section where it comes to the polishing. And I remember, gathering the items that I needed for this and just being like, all right, I'm gonna do it. So, I mean, I have wet sanded before, so that wasn't a fear right there. I was just like, I know I could wet sand a car. I've done it. That's how I usually would do it. But this time the Dremel thing was something different. So one cool thing is he uses a Dremel by the company Dremel, and I have one as well. We have different models, but they do have they go by like the same speed settings. So when he said that he puts it at speed like number 5, which is the lowest, I looked at mine, I'm like, there you go. There's the 5 right there. Perfect. I set it at that. And I just followed all the steps. I'm not going to like repeat the steps right now. Just go and listen to his episode to Scott Skill Builds. And oh no, wait, it was in the bonus one, sorry. But still, listen to that one, the one-on-one I did with him. But the one on the bonus, it's in there. And man, I just remember, applying the compound and going through the scratch X, like the first thing, right? And turning on that Dremel. And then once I made contact and I didn't stop and I just kept going and everything, I felt very like in the zone. Like those nerves or whatever I had or the fear went away. And I was just like, all right, cool. Because my eyes weren't seeing anything that was like damaging the vehicle, to be like, oh, stop what I'm doing. So I just kept going and going. And the more I did it, the more I was just enjoying it. So the roof, the hood, the trunk, the doors, all those big areas. And I mean, I just followed through from the scratch X to the compound and then to the final, the polish. And man, at the end, I was very happy with the results of it, And I did it like a couple times because I did the whole car and I was like, all right, cool. But then I was like, you know what, let me go back and I washed it and I kind of redid it. And just the second time I was like, dude, I really love the way this car's popping. So then that right there helped put this car closer to completion, because now I was able to finalize parts on the car that needed to be glued now to this build. So I glued the glass that went inside. It pretty much the interior is already glued to the chassis, and then that already went in. It's already attached. There's only some exterior parts that need to be glued, like the diffuser in the rear that needs to be glued on there, the strut bars that need to be glued on into the front, and then just the wing, the spoiler. That's the last thing, the last touch. Oh no, I'm missing a couple more. And then the metal Nissan and GTR stickers from Zoom On that I'm gonna apply. And the final piece, I guess it's like the cherry on the top, would be the exhaust tips. So for the exhaust tips, I'm using Aoshima's detail part set. So they're like aluminum tips, but I want to give them that like heat treatment. I want to airbrush them. So this way, I don't want them just to look clean, like bare aluminum. I do want to heat treat them. So this way, they have like that blue purple color on there. I just love the way that looks on cars. So, those are like the final things for assembly, and so going back to the Lambo and also bringing up this one, there was something that I came across in that rear bumper, which I noticed was something I missed, like an error. So when you look at that bumper, it's like very complex, right? There's all these little vents, there's all these openings, and just the way it's shaped. And what happened was when I was working on this, I focused more on the bottom of the bumper, which was like, it's like a bigger piece. And as far as the top portion of the bumper, I really didn't like put much attention to it, right? So I lined up the carbon fiber how it was gonna go to match with the car or to flow with it, and I took my time and I laid all this stuff down. I clear coated it, and this took time. It wasn't like I did it in a day or two. This took probably like a couple of weeks or so. And I was like super happy, and I had all the parts put away. Finally, when it came down to doing a mock-up just to see where I'm at, and I attached that bumper, and I was just staring at the whole body, then I noticed, oh, what the heck? I saw that the whole bottom of the bumper was all carbon fibered, but the very top, there was a section in there which was not. It was more like black still, but then you had little like corners from the other carbon that I had used at the bottom that just ended up there, and it just looked weird. I was like, oh nah, like this is super noticeable. Like especially someone looking from up top, looking at the car, they're gonna notice that right away. So instead of like freaking out and panicking, I just referred back and remembered to like things that I've learned, so I immediately started to pretty much just sand that top portion of it. And then I also wet sanded the bumper, kind of like scuffing it up, but not too much, but just enough to know that I am gonna have to re-clear this, So I went ahead and I did the sanding first on the clear, and from there I busted out with tape. I cut out my template, or before I cut it out, I put the tape, and then I used my lead pencil to trace and create a template. Then the tape, I took it off and I transferred it over to the carbon fiber. I laid it down, and then I cut that out. From there, I cut that in the middle, 2 pieces. I laid it out in the water, 1 piece at a time. Then each piece went back onto that bumper to cover the top. Now, once that was covered, I was like, cool. Now you can't see any of the original blackness of the bumper. It's now covered. So all I need to do now is clear coat it. Now, from seeing that mistake, it made me think, oh, now let me review the GTR. Let me see if the same thing isn't happening over here. So I looked at the diffuser. There's a certain part in the back that sticks out. And when I took some photographs and I zoomed in, and from the rear, from the bottom, it looks okay, like it looks fine. But then once you take like a side or a top angled photograph, you could see that there's also an area where I missed. And I was like, damn, it's kind of the same thing. So I went back in there and, I added the carbon fiber to those areas that needed it. So now I was like, all right, dope. I have 2 pieces that need to be clear coated. And then I decided to carbon fiber these other 2 small parts that go at the bottom of the bumper. I don't know the name of them, but I just know that they go on the bumper. So I went ahead and got those ready. And I was like, all right, before I go to bed, let me go ahead and prep these already. Let me go ahead and put them on these sticks so they could go on the stand. And tomorrow morning, when I have an opportunity, I'm going to go ahead and clear coat these. And then I'm done with that. Like, I can move on. So I went ahead and did that. And this morning when I was clear coating, it was just nice to be able to just have that time to lay that down, and there's no holdups. There's nothing holding me back right now from not completing this build, and especially with the things I've learned all this year, especially the carbon fiber and the polishing. Those two for me are my highlights right now. Those to me are like two of the things where I'm like super happy that I've learned this year. Laying down carbon fiber, and then also polishing the models. I know this is like, I've only polished those two cars and I'm still learning. I wonder how things are going to be in my 5th polish, 10th polish, you know what I mean? So I looked at the parts, and it looks like they flowed. Tomorrow I'm going to check them out again, and just to see if everything's fine, and then I could start doing the assembly with that. So my goal is, I guess, to get these done before the end of the year. So that would give me like a week and a half. But we'll see. If I can't finish both builds, I'll at least finish the GTR. That would be the first one, and then followed by the Lambo, and then everything else is gonna have to follow that I need to now finish with these cars. So I'm just super happy about that stuff. I just wanted to like share it. I was like, man, I definitely want to talk about this right here. So the R35, it's mainly assembly with the wing, gluing the wing, the airbrushing the exhaust tips, and then gluing those on there as well, and then just gluing all the small parts, the diffuser, carbon fiber, attach that on there, and that one's pretty much gonna be it for that build right there. So the polishing thing, for those that haven't done it, I do recommend it. I feel like once you get into that world and you do it, it's definitely going to be an eye-opener. It's going to change the way you present your cars. And it's funny because I even asked Scott, like, ever since you started doing that, do you ever feel like you would want to go back and like on other previous builds, polish them, like just bust them out? And he was saying nah, he just doesn't want to do it. And I was a little tempted, like, oh, maybe I should go back and bust out some of my old builds and repolish them or something. But then I was like, nah, everything's already glued, like the glass and the foil's already on there, and I just don't want to make a mess and like something bad happen, right? Where I drop the model, you know how it is. Sometimes we want to like update an old build and something happens that later we regret, like, man, I shouldn't have even touched that, Then again, the past is the past, and it's time to move forward. Whatever things you didn't do in those past builds, it is what it is. That was a different stage, right? And now you're in another stage, and it's like what Scott says. This is what we're doing now. We gotta keep moving forward. I like that right there. So now that we went over those current builds, if you guys want to see photos, check out my Instagram at 65locs_. That's where I'm doing like updates on those builds right there. So I'll keep you guys posted. And then I wanted to now jump into another topic, talking about what are the goals for next year, and what's going to piggy off of that is going to be like the changes that I want to do with the podcast and content moving forward. So as far as goals for next year, the first thing is pretty much promoting my business. I want to try my best to attend as many shows as I can that fit into my schedule, that pretty much are gonna make sense to do. I know there's a ton of shows, and I can't do them all. There's gonna be weekends where I'm gonna be busy with family. There could be an event or something, and I just can't make it. Or my day job, something, it could be a holiday, a busy holiday that we're busy at work, and I just can't attend shows or whatever. But those open months where they are open, I definitely, if there's a show, and and already planning ahead of time, because I know the year before I dropped the ball on somewhere. I should have just like, submitted the notice or like payment and everything and the sign up to get in, and it was all last minute. Like, and it's like, you run that you run that risk of being sold out. So I want to be a little bit more well prepared for that, right? So attending shows, get to meet the people, promote the brand, introduce it to some people who have never even heard of it or seen it, because I know it's like that with anything, and so couple things. December 2nd of this month was our 2-year anniversary for the online store. So 2 years ago is when I launched the online store, and December the 22nd, that right there, here, let me see, no, 20th, sorry, December 20th, that was 5 years of Scale Riders. So 5 years ago on that date is when the brand of Scale Riders started, and it wasn't a store, so it's kind of interesting having two anniversaries in the same month right there. But when I go back and I think about what was going on, there was a lot of different things that were going on around those periods. So it makes sense. And at the same time, it was definitely a good like motivator, a jump start into a new venture, especially when you have a new year beginning and everyone makes their New Year's resolutions and plans and all this stuff. The beginning of the new year, it's almost like a Monday. It's like starting the work week. You're either going to be pumped and we're going to get to work. We're going to start early, get the work done, fast so we can get out early, or we're just going to hate it. We're going to dread it, It's just what you make of it, And I know for myself, it was just like, I'm pumped, So now that, we're 2 years into it, I still look back and I analyze. I look at my books, I look at my analytics, I look at all this stuff just to see the growth and the change into the business. What we have now versus what we didn't have a year ago. And now looking forward, what is it that I need to get and have going into the future, So there's all these like things that are like, pretty much putting all these pieces together, right? So the shows is going to be one thing. The model kits as well is like another thing, being able to get the kits that people are looking for, but especially those hard to find kits, especially the hard ones, because I know that there's a lot of kits that are imported from Japan, and I mean there are some, you do see shops carrying them, but then there's some that you don't really see anybody carrying them. Sometimes there's these like very obscure kits where you look at the cover and like the cover doesn't sell you, maybe you don't like the livery of the car in the picture, but then again, you don't have to use that livery, you don't have to use those decals, just look at that car, stare at the body, and you never know, that right there is a foundation, a base to something different that you want to create. And later people are going to be like, yo, like, what car is that? How'd you make that, or what? And that's where you go, oh, it's this kit right here. And people are like, what? Like, dude, I want that kit now, So definitely want to get like some hard to find kits into the store, and that's like, I guess, goal number 2. Another one, being able to just provide, tools, the detail parts and the paints, like all those things right there. And something that like another goal that I want to implement into my store that I have not done yet is mystery boxes. I want to bring those in. I want to start doing some mystery boxes where maybe you want to just give it a go and spend a certain amount and just see what I send you. And at the same time, I was talking to a friend about this because I know he's done mystery boxes, and it's one of those things where you really have to make it worth it, and I want to do something fun where it's like you are saving money by buying a mystery box, because I don't want to cheap anybody out and be like, you spent this much, but then when you add up the stuff, it doesn't even match to the price that you got it. Like, that sucks. And I've seen that happen, with mystery things, like at stores and whatever, or friends telling me their horror stories. It's crazy, but I don't want to do that, I just want to make it fun or whatever, and people are like, hopefully they're jazzed about it. But that's definitely want to bring that in. I also want to bring in merch, like hats, t-shirts. I do have a couple designs uploaded on the website, but those they're going to start coming up more. There's going to be more designs of things that I want to bring in, and obviously the hats as well. I want to make those items available. I mean, like, I don't know, when I like a brand and everything, I mean, dude, I want to rock the colors, I want to rep the company, whatever. Like, I've always been like that, and I have people hitting me up like, yo, you got any shirts or something? And I did in the beginning, I made like a run of shirts, but then I stopped because I was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing shirts, I don't know if I want to be stuck with a bunch of medium shirts, I don't even know what to do with them. Next thing I'm like giving them away. But now it's different because the store is here, and now it's like people are interested in these shirts, and I'm just like, all right, why not? I want to wear them too. I mean, a lot of times I only get like one shirt printed with the design, and that's what I wear. And the other day I was going through my clothes and I realized, dang, like I got maybe like 4 or 5 different Scale Rider shirts that I wear pretty often, and it's all different design, but they're like one-offs that I did. And I just look at it as like, oh, I guess I'm in uniform, when I'm working or I'm packaging these orders or whatever. So, but I want to make them available for people. So these shirts, they're going to be soft. I'm tired of those thick, heavy, like rough cotton that they're like choking you, like it's on your neck, they're all itchy. None of that. They're going to be soft tee, something comfortable, something that you want to wear all the time. Maybe a shirt even just to go to sleep in, and you're comfortable, or when it's one of those like hot days and you're working on the bench and you're just like, dude, you know what, I'm gonna wear that shirt because it's soft, it's comfortable, even if I sweat in it, it's comfortable, no issues, so something like that. And so the gear, all that stuff will come in too. And then the changes pigging back off of that would be the podcast. So I know every week, like most of you guys that tune in, I do my weekly podcast. A lot of it, majority, it's like phone audio. So I just recently ordered a new camera for my laptop, and this is going to be for streaming. And this camera, I'm going to be using it on my laptop for Zoom. So what I want to start doing more now is going to be interviews through Zoom. I want to be able to have that one-on-one with my guest, and at the same time, I encourage my guest to have his models, subjects of things that we talk about. So this way, when my guest has the floor and he's speaking about, the item, it's being shown on the screen, and at the same time, while we're conducting our interview, our podcast episode, I want to stream it live through YouTube. So this will be announced ahead of time. We're going to be streaming at this time with my guest. Here's a link. And if you want to tune in, you could tune in. You could join on the chat room. You could check this out. If you miss it, don't worry. It's going to be saved. It's going to be posted right away in there. And at the same time, you'll be able to view it whenever. And then the audio from that will also be placed in the podcast area through iTunes, Shopify, all that. Spotify. So you'll have 2 platforms now. You'll be able to tune in and listen to it, through your phone, however you do it, and your favorite podcast network, or you'll be able to go through YouTube. And the reason why I needed this camera is just because the one I have on my laptop isn't great. It's very pixelated. If you use your phone, it's super clean, and my laptop is just terrible. And I don't want to give that kind of presentation, especially if I want to be going live, and it's quite embarrassing. So shout outs to Rudy Munoz, because if it wasn't he helped me out to get this camera, and I'm super excited. It's going to be coming in soon, so I'm hoping that it arrives before the end of the year, or that way I could start things off January doing the podcast this way. And then again, the content, I need to be more on the camera. I need to push myself a little more so you guys could see me behind the scenes, or just speaking about what came in. At the same time, I do have a TikTok account for Scale Riders. If you guys are on TikTok, please make sure to I don't know if it's a follow, subscribe, I don't even know what, and just hit me up on there, and then drop me a comment or something, and that way I could check out. Or if you're posting models, hit me up and I'll follow you back, and I'm gonna be doing a lot of that, like posting. At first it was kind of weird for me to like mess with TikTok, just because it's like all over the place, the content and everything, and then I just couldn't really find like my style of videos, presentation, like how am I gonna do this, because you watch other people's videos, and it's almost like you feel like, oh, I gotta do a video like that, and it's like, nah, I don't want to do that. I'm not gonna be dancing or doing anything like that, right? So I was like, it took time, but now I feel comfortable with recording and making the videos, and I feel like I have this momentum right now every day of doing a video, where before it felt like work. Now it just feels more natural, just coming together. So there's gonna be more content of that right there, and just pretty much once it's shared there, it's gonna be shared everywhere, where whichever platform lets me upload a video, and now I wanted to jump into the store arrivals. So let me go on the website here so I could kind of let you guys know what arrived for this ending month of December. Dang, it sounds all sad. The end of December. All right, so we did get new items, and we also got some restocks. So one of the new items, AMT 1970 Chevy Impala, a Fire Chief Car Edition. And we also got a restocks on our bare metal foil, color gold, and also ultra bright chrome. From Fujimi, we got a few items. One of them being the R33 Nissan Skyline 1995. Also a Honda NSX / NSX-R from Fujimi, and then the last one is Nissan Silvia S14 Veil Side. This one looks interesting. When I stare at this, I'm like, whoa! Like I haven't seen this kit, and when they made it available, I was like, all right, I gotta get 4 copies of this. The Hasegawa mirror finish, it's there, it's available. If you're looking for it, cop it. I don't know if it sells out. I don't know how long it's gonna take me for me to get more. Another one that was like a pretty big restock was the Lazy Modeler, all the way from Australia. He makes the flame masks, so we have the ones for the the 50 Ford, 49 and 50 Ford AMT. There's also an AMT 50, 55, 57 Chevy pickup. The Revell Henry J. Gasser masks. The Revell 49 Mercury masks. And then also 164 scale, like Hot Wheels size masks as well. Some people had hit me up months back if I had them, and I was like, I don't, but I am gonna get them. But I took too long to get them. Like, I finally got them. By now, that, like, I don't know, I don't even know how to get back to them. You know, if they find it, well, now we have it. We finally got the 1980 class action Chevy Monte Carlo. This comes with a chopper motorcycle and trailer. Man, like, these right here, I tried getting them a while back, and they kept selling out. I would add an order, and I was like, cool, I gotta come out, and then boom, sold out. So I never would get them. Finally got them in. And then also the 1983 Toyota Celica Supra version. So you could do either one by MPC. So both of those are MPC cars. I also received the Nunu Hobby Audi Hong Kong R8, a 2015 edition. Beautiful car, really, really beautiful car. I see these built sometimes, not too much, but they're definitely a premium price. But just the way they look really, really nice. So I could see why they probably charge a premium for them, just for the quality that they bring out. And I always hear good things about Nunu Hobby. And then from Revell, there's also a couple of Porsches that we got in as well. I had seen these previously released under Revell Germany, but you know, they also make them with somewhat of a similar box art. It's just in a smaller size for the US version, and a bit more affordable as well. The other ones cost, I would say it's like a $10 difference on the other ones. And then Scale Motorsport carbon fiber 12 weave clear is back. We got like a huge like restock and new stock of like Tamiya cars. The one that was like that I saw was like getting a lot of hype is the Tamiya Nissan Z sports car. I mean, I saw a lot of people talking about it, and then once it hit Japan, I mean, I saw all these dudes on Twitter posting it, that they're working on it, that they painted it, that they built it. So that just brought a lot of excitement, and I was like, I made sure to share all that excitement. And then aside from that, I mean, all these models, they've been released already. They've been around for years. But as far as us having it in the store, some of these cars, like, we haven't had. You know, there's this one, the Taizan Star Car Porsche 911 GT. We just got that in. I managed to get like 6 copies of it. And this car, man, this is another one that almost took like half a year to try to get. They were just sold out for a long time. And it looks like this is for anybody who wants to build like an RWB car. You basically need this kit, and then I believe Black Box offers the exterior parts, the RWB parts, to complete and make that. So you know, I have seen some online and stuff like that, but like, I don't know, just throwing it out there that it's there for now, and once it's gone, it's going to be gone for a while until I can get more. You know, if I can get more, I'll definitely order more, but it's tough because it keeps selling out. Then we also got the Lexus LFA car, the GTRs, like the R32, and which one else? We also got like the V-Spec sports car as well. A Mercedes AMG GT3. So there's all these different cars that we haven't had, and at the same time the motorcycles too. I was like, you know what, I need to start getting more motorcycle kits too. You know, just to have, you know, whoever's looking for some, we got them right there. The Repsol Honda is available now. The Team Suzuki X-Star is also available. The Yamaha YZF-R 1M motorcycle is also available. So all that stuff right there is available now in the store, scaleriders.com. So by the time you hear this episode, it will already be Friday. So Friday, I'll be dropping off some packages, which most likely will arrive the following week. So Friday, package drop off. Busy through the weekend, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. And then that week, starting from that Monday, the last week of the year, I'm finally going to have it off, like vacation time. But I'll still be, for my day job, but I'll still be shipping out orders throughout that week. So I'm gonna be here locally at home. So I'll still be able to get those orders out through the week. And but it's gonna be probably just a couple days out of the whole week, you know, and that'll be it. I'll pretty much be sending out the last orders of 2022. So if we send out an order in that last week, then it'll arrive in the future, 2023, right there. And it's going to be interesting. I'm very curious to see what would be like the last items that would go out for that year, you know? Because I'll have it on the record in my system. And I mean, I got like the shipments today while I'm recording this. I got 2 big shipments in. And I was like thinking to myself, man, I think these are the last shipments for this year, because I do have a pretty big shipment coming in from Zoom On model, but that's not, I think that might be another week, you know, or it might show up like early January. But I'm excited for that one. A lot of cool things. I try to get all the new stuff from them with that. And then let's see where we at right here. So before we wrap up this episode, one of the final things I wanted to bring up about the store is regarding pre-orders. So let me go ahead and let me dive in. I'm on the website right now. So many of you guys know, like if you visit my website and you go to the pre-order section, you're gonna notice that everything in there says like sold out, you know. And the reason being that it's sold out, there are some items that were purchased for pre-order. Not many, just like some orders, and like a few orders with pre-orders, but the rest I kind of just killed the quantity just at 0. I don't want to offer it right now. And you know, I've done, you know, from the last couple of years, you know, from the business, you know, I do see that pre-orders is like an essential thing that every online business does. You know, the pros to offering pre-orders is you are generating some income to secure and also be able to know that when the stock comes in, it's already sold, like it's done, like that deal is done. You're all you're doing is just delivering, you know. It also helps you like be able to buy more product and all this stuff, right? Those are like the pros. Some of the cons to that is that delays. There could be so many delays, you know, during shipment, or you could be selling a pre-order on an item that in the photo it shows it a certain way, and then all of a sudden they mess up in the factory, or there's a defect or something, and now they got to change the whole thing. They got to change the box art, they got to change the livery of the car, you know. It was supposed to be red, but they messed up and it's pink, you know what I mean? Like there's all these things that happen with this stuff. Or, they pulled the plug. They decided they don't want to do it no more. The license didn't go through. Breach of contract, and now that product's not coming out. And now you're left with, damn, I have all these pre-orders. Now, you know, you got to refund everybody. You got to sort everybody out. So So I remember last year, there was like an issue with with receiving the Aoshima, the Huracan, the Liberty Walk, and when they had announced that wide body, that first one, everybody, this is what I remember. I remember people like making noise on the internet, people being excited, but I'm talking more about like on Twitter and Facebook a little bit, Instagram somewhat, but I do remember like just seeing like people excited for this boat. I got excited for it too, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get like a bunch of these, And I put in a big order of those kits to get in, and I remember, obviously Japan has them first, and during that time it was like, post like pandemic, you had still like a lot of delays at the docks and all these things when all the ships were sitting at shore with all the inventory and everything, and it just delayed everything. And I remember it was slated to come out like in July. I didn't receive those models until December, at the end of the year. And yeah, you do kind of reach a point where you go, damn, like I don't even know when, they're going to arrive or what the hell. So during that time, I had to wait, and I didn't have that many pre-orders because I was still like, new business and getting the ball rolling and stuff. And I mean, some people bought it, but it wasn't that crazy. And then finally, like, they showed up in December, and those models went out immediately as soon as they showed up, right? So as time went on, those long periods of delays started to increase more and more and more, pushing everything back, right? And then as I started to be more aware of the model builders in Japan, I started to see like, man, they already have this stuff. Like, they already have it. They have it. Like, damn, this is crazy. Like, why is it taking so long to get here? Right? But then again, when distributors purchase these models from a manufacturer, they're not just buying like a couple boxes and being like, mail them through the air mail. Nah, dude, they're buying, like, they have containers that they lease, and they fill these containers up with boxes and boxes of not just one brand. Like, it could be freaking like, I don't know, dude, like 100 brands, One container could have all Aoshima, another container could have all Fujimi, another container, boom, boom, boom. So many containers, whatever they can fit. And even those containers are expensive, like to lease, but it's supposed to be the cheapest way for them, right? But it's still expensive. So that's why they have to fill them up with so much stuff. So I'm pretty sure like in logistics, they probably have like, the scheduling of like when the releases come out and all this stuff, and what is going to go on the ship and what's not going to go on the ship, what's going to go out later and all this stuff. So fast forward to now, there was like new items that get announced, right, from Aoshima, and they say, oh, these new kits, this is what's in production. When they say that, that's basically telling us that these are the kits that we're going to start producing right now. And later, once they're produced, then they're going to get shipped out to the stores and distributors and everywhere it's going to head out. So Japan's always going to get the first dibs right away. Once it's out, boom, the shops have them. And kind of what I'm learning is that when things aren't really that delayed, it's probably like a 3 month to 4 months. And now that when things are delayed, it could be even more, like 6 months, maybe even 8 months to receive a product from them, And it's like, from looking at my orders, whenever I get an order, I fulfill it quick. Like, I'm quick at it. I have the time, I have the stuff. I'm pumped. I get it going because I already know how it is to want to get your stuff, On my pre-orders, I do state in there that you pretty much have to, like, if if you're buying stuff I have in stock, and if you're adding something that's a pre-order, that's like a no-no right there. And I talk about it. So basically, if you want your stuff right away, do separate orders, right? Don't put it together, because then what's gonna happen is that pre-order is gonna hostage all your stuff, and none of your stuff's gonna go out until that thing arrives, because there's only one shipping cost that was purchased for the whole complete order. And you go on any website, it's the same thing. If you're in a hurry to get your stuff, don't pre-order, or don't mix it together. Don't do that. The stuff that's in stock, order that first. The pre-order, separate, and just know that that's gonna be a back burner. That's gonna be like something that, don't even think about it. When it comes, you're like, oh my God, it's Christmas, Well, don't think about it. And it's just, there's new things coming in every week, new products, but with pre-orders, you don't know when they're gonna arrive. You just don't know. So I got to a point where I was analyzing all my pre-orders, and out of my pre-orders, the one brand that's just been taking forever to arrive is Aoshima. And I've already talked directly with Aoshima. I've talked directly with my distributor, and it's not their fault. It's nothing. They've been in the game for so long, and this is nothing to them. They do it all the time. They produce new products. They ship them out on time and everything. It's always going to come down to the boats, the shipping, however, whatever. If it goes by train, if it goes by air, if it goes on a boat, on a raft, like on a ferry, I don't know. Like, all these variables is what changes everything. Once it's out of their hands, it's not in their control, and it's just like, now it brings me into this stage. So something that's really difficult, especially when it's like a one-person operation, is like doing updates on this, like, meaning, like giving a person an update on, because imagine if you have so many orders, it's tough. The best thing is just hit me up, and I'll get you an answer, right? When people hit me up, like, hey, can check the status of a pre-order, I check the status as well with my distributor. Like, yo, when's this arriving? My customer's asking. I just want to know. I need to give them an answer. And then it's like, this is the date where we're expecting it to arrive. But then later that gets pushed back. Oh no, it's going to come out later. It's going to come out later. It's going to come out later. And what sucks is that puts me in a bad position, because now, even though I'm not the one driving the ship, I'm not the one that has it in my hands, it puts me in a position of like, what can I do, So, and I don't want my customers to think like, oh fuck, like he's just not buying it or whatever, or he's making this. No, fuck no, it's not like that. What's going on is there's these delays, and I'm also not trying to like diss anybody or anything. I'm just laying it out how it is, and it's just, it made me make this decision where I go, cool, whenever a new company comes out with the product that they're soliciting, whatever company it is, this is the new latest car that we're going to be dropping this year or whatever, cool. I'm going to list it on my website, but I'm not going to make it available. You won't be able to add it to your cart. You'll only be able to look at it, read the little paragraph and all this, and that's it. Until I have that car in hand, or until I have that tracking number and I know that it's going to arrive in a week, I'll put the pre-order up and you can buy it. At least now, boom, week shows up, there you go. It's on its way to you and you get your tracking number and we're all good to go. But as far as like this situation where, you know, these delays keep happening, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And at the same time, that's not a good look for me. I don't want that. Like, I worked so hard to get to where I'm at, you know, and I'm not going to let no, like, pre-order thing or whatever, like, tarnish or, you know, whatever, like, give a bad vibe to, like, my customers or people. Like, nah, it's not going to happen. So, I'm pretty much just going to change the way I go about my pre-orders. I know every store isn't going to do what I'm going to do. They're going to do it their way, and that seems to be a traditional way that every store does, and that's fine. But as far as me, like, I don't want to have a headache. I don't want to, like, let this kind of just ruin and make this, like, not be fun, you know. And at the same time, what's going to happen is, like, if I notice that by the coming month, you know, from what I've been told, like, this is going to arrive on this month, and then this month, and this month, I'm not going to play that game no more. Like, if nothing comes in by a certain date, I'm basically just going to notify the pre-orders I have and just let you know, hey, I'm just going to refund you your money, and that's it, you know. When the items come in, I don't know when they're going to come in. If they come in, because they keep telling me something and then something else. Once they come in, if you want to buy them, they're right there. That's all it's going to be, plain and simple, you know. But I don't know. I don't want to have that cloud over my head over like 5 orders that I have on pre-order. It's not even a lot of orders, and that's the thing. It's not even a lot. Like, all the other pre-orders that I had, those have all been gone. Like, everything's been gone. So I'm like, cool. And then, you know, I have these, and it's all Aoshima stuff, and I'm just like, what the hell? Like, why hasn't it arrived, right? Like, it's like I'm tripping as much as my customer should be tripping. But there's nothing that I can do. But at the end, it's going to lie on me, though, because the transaction was done with me, not with my distributor. You know, if anything, like, I'm dealing with my distributor. But then again, it's like, that's a big company. Like, no one cares. It's like the end of the year. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. As far as, like, me, though, it's like, nah. Like, I like taking care of my customers. You know, whatever needs to be handled, I handle it. But like I said, if for some reason by a certain date next month, you know, and I notify you and everything, and even if you're like, no, I want to keep it, I'll give you that option. You could keep it, you can hold on, but, you know, I think it's best that we just pull the plug on this one. And when it does show up, you'll just sign up for the when it's in stock, and then you'll get an email saying, like, hey, this item arrived, it's here, and just make the purchase there and then, you know. It's not gonna hurt me, it's not gonna hurt you. It's just, you know, at least, you know, there's no like you're not thinking about it, like, oh man, you know, when is it gonna come in, because I know how it is. I've pre-ordered stuff before, but I know I'm patient. Like, when I pre-order stuff, I don't even think about it. I just lock it in. I get that email and I save the email, and that's it. And I just move on, and I do a bunch of whatever, and then later it just shows up, and I'm like, dude, like, crazy. I almost forgot about this, or like, holy crap, it's here. That's dope, you know. And I don't know. That's just the way I'm feeling right now, and the way things are gonna just change with that. So, you know, I just want to let you guys know, because I know a lot of you guys that listen to the podcast also order stuff from me, and maybe you've pre-ordered in the past, you know, or maybe you're one of the ones that we're waiting on right now too, you know, and you're hearing it first from me right now on here, as what I'm saying is, you know, that's pretty much what it's gonna go down to if nothing arrives, because it's almost like, well, what's the point, you know? Because I still remember one of my friends telling me he had created a product, and he came out with it, and he took pre-orders on it, and even he was saying, like, man, like, you know, it's cool to be able to, like, create these products for customers, But man, it's such a big responsibility once you get these pre-orders, and it's almost like it's like you're owned, like your customer owns you for all that period of time. And it was something that he decided later, I don't even want to do this no more, and he just stopped making it, and that was the end of that. That was like history. And I mean, I'm not creating products or nothing like that, but it's kind of similar, and it's like, nah, like I could see how that could turn not to be fun, you know, and I don't know. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy packaging the orders, putting them together, and just seeing the cool things that go out that I go, wow, like, man, like this color is gonna go with this car, and like he's gonna use these seats and this and that. Like, that's all fun, dude. Like, I love that. I love seeing that. I love see people post like what they got in and all that in too, and then just seeing that progression of it being built and all that. Like, that to me is like dope. Even when they say I got it and thank you, like that makes my day. Like, for sure, I'm just like super pumped, and that's why I do my best to package these orders accordingly and get them out. Even if I'm tired, I'm just like, nah, dude, like this has to go out because I want my customers to get their orders like quickly as possible. And like these ones here that are taking forever, that it's like out of my hand, my control, and out of the control of, both entities. It sucks, and it's like whoever's the the person that's taking it from point A to point B is who's in control, of how fast they're going or whatever, right? And I just don't want to be in that position no more, dude. Like, that's all it is. It's just like, nah, whatever, As time changes, things will change. For as far as right now, I've already made my decision, and this is pretty much what it's going to be. So, we'll change that later. And, I'm sorry I kind of ranted right there, but I had to just kind of lay it out there. I didn't mean to be a downer or anything like that, but, this is part of the game. This is part of the business side of it, you have your ups, you have your downs, and, if people want to substitute, dude, you can substitute, it's all good. Like, whatever works. We can do it up. All I want you guys is just to be happy. That's it, and get them builds going. And I hope you guys set your goals too for like next year, like what you guys want to do. We're entering a new year. There's a lot going on, obviously, in the world. We're so in tune with social media that I feel like we know more about what's happening in other countries and in other areas, and we don't even really know what's going on in our own little town or in our block, So it's almost like you have to kind of, I don't want to say like tune out, but you have to be selective, I guess, as into like what, what's going on, like, because I don't know, man. Like, you just have to, I guess, have that peace of mind to be able to be creative, and that's kind of what it boils down to. And I mean, I'm happy that we're here and we're able to make it to another year, and don't give up, man. Like, don't give up in whatever you do, just know that whenever you're put in this like position, if you're like depressed or you're sad or something, I know as guys we keep our feelings and we don't want to say anything or whatever, but like, like, don't trip. Like, hit up a friend, dude. Like, it's easy to just hit someone up, especially on Instagram. Like, we're a community. Like, all of us, we're all connected on there. You can send a DM and stuff, and someone will reach out, and it's just like, I know, you're always gonna have that friend that's gonna say something funny, or he's gonna show you something interesting, and all these things are gonna help keep your mind off of whatever, and also just kind of think of like how long, like, how long it's taking you to be at where you're at right now, you know, and like think of your modeling skills, like everything that you've done with that, apply it to your life, you know. If you want to lay down a great foundation on your model car, to lay down your primer and your paint, and you want to add all these details, and you want to do this presentation all good and all that, apply that same ideas into your life as to what you're doing, you know. As much as that small car is going to give you some challenges, and there's going to be some rough roads and patches, and that's life right there. It's life wrapped into a box right there, you know. And we get through it. And we make it, and we're good, you know. Everything ends up working out, you know. So yeah, I just wanted to like bring that up right there, that, you know, you could always reach out to a friend with whatever's going on, you know. People will listen for sure. I think people are more compassionate and have a lot more empathy than what they did before. That's why there's a lot of awareness and a lot of things, and at the same time we're growing up. I mean, I'm gonna be 40 next year already, you know, and it's like my mentality right now is different from what it was back then, you know. And I know a lot of us too, we're all growing, you know, and we're gonna keep growing, and it's like, you know, those that are younger than us, if we see struggles with them or anything, we want to help them, you know. We want to reach out and stuff. And I know sometimes it's gonna be hard. You reach out to someone and they probably don't want to hear it or whatever, but, you know, I guess just don't give up, you know. You can't give up. But anyway, this is episode number 196. I'm 65 Locs checking out right here. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Man, I talked for a pretty long time right there, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. And, you know, stay tuned for the next one that's going to be coming up at the end of December. That'll be like, man, the last podcast of 2022, and then, you know, we're going to keep it going for 2023. So stay tuned to that. Thank you guys for all that support that you guys have given me, spreading word, you know, spreading word with scalewriters.com, the podcast, like everything. It means a lot to me. You know, I love what I'm doing, and I mean, I love doing these podcasts for you guys as well. I hope it gets you through the day, through that commute, those long drives where you're like, damn, I want to go home, want to build. I hope you get through all that, and then you get home, chill. So I know most of you guys are on vacation right now, or traveling. Might be on an airplane, might be on a car, you know. Just be safe. You know, Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and everything. And Happy New Year too. You know, I just want to throw that in there for everybody right there, you know. Much love to everybody. So peace out.